Hello guys, I'm back. I thought I'd get back to the 67 Atwater Kent. I know there's some that was interested in it, where I left off at. Left off with needing a tube. Well, I got the tube, and we still didn't have much working. So I started going through the radio and seeing what I could find by checking voltages and trying to pass the signal through, and I found that the voltages were quite off, and for one thing, and the other thing was when I tried to trace a signal through, I could not. I ran into one area that was bad where I stopped at, and it's right here. This is the detector tube, and then there's a RF choke and two caps here. Makes a pi filter to filter out the RF after it's detected, and get rid of the RF, so you just get audio frequency on through. Well, that choke was open, and I could have swore that I had checked it. There's two of them in the radio, and they, from a visual standpoint, they look identical. They do measure, or should measure differently, but they look identical. And the only thing I can think of is maybe I measured just one of them, and for some reason got in my head that I'd gotten both of them measured. The other one's right down here. It just makes sure no RF energy gets back into the onto the 135 volt battery connection and into the feed and start causing all kinds of problems. That's what it does. So anyway, I started checking on that choke, and it turned out that it had several breaks in it. It was in pretty bad shape. I started unwinding it, and I wouldn't get but a few turns pulled off, and it just come loose, and I just kept doing it. I lost count at about 30 breaks. So I had luckily I had some magnetic wire that was about the same size, and I made up another one. As far as the number of turns or anything else, they're not extremely vital, this one especially, but RF chokes are not really that critical. As long as they're close, they'll do their job. This one here, really the capacitors do more work as far as bleeding off the RF than the choke does, trying to block it. So that was one problem. And then after I got that taken care of, I seemed to have my voltages back where they should be, and everything seemed to be okay that way, but I still was not getting no sound out of it. And I kept troubleshooting. I tried feeding a signal in with the generator, did not hear anything, and which before I fixed this I did and put that new tube in. So I'm sitting here kind of scratching my head and trying to figure out, you know, I didn't change anything other than repaired stuff. So I just started stage by stage going down through, and when I got past the detector, I thought, well, okay, I'm going to drive it with an audio signal. So I fired up the audio generator and fed an audio signal into the grid here, and I had nothing. So then I fed in the grid either one of the push poles, had nothing. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I'll come right down here just after the audio transformer and feed right there, still nothing. So then I went to the speaker, and I was getting ready to take a closer look at it and maybe check with the speaker unplugged. I can check the voice coil. I thought maybe the voice coil opened up on it. Well, it turned out that the wire that has the plug on it that goes there, one of the connections and all the moving around and everything broke. The broke off at the solder point on the cable, so I just had to resolder it. And then I had sound, and it seems to be working.
Your first alert forecast calls for tonight, mostly clear with winds getting down.
Now I could use a longer antenna for this radio, but plus a couple new output tubes wouldn't hurt.
Information when it comes to mammograms, how often to get them, what age to start, how forcefully doctors.
But it doesn't pick up too bad.
In their 40s. And that,
it's ridiculous. The Marine is not. That they have on their farm. And joining me this morning on Mid Morning Magazine is Brad Cullen. Hey, Brad, thanks for joining us this morning on Mid Morning Magazine. Well, thanks for asking me. We follow along the Davis County Van Buren line. That's been in the family farm. Involved in honest negotiations with Iraq, which I don't. You know you said you don't. But even if you do, it's just bad policy. So we start this negotiation by saying, okay, we're going to release some of those sanctions right now before we even sit down. And we didn't get anything back. Nothing.
No, we didn't. And that's been my stance all along, is that you put the United States to one side, you put Iran to the other.
Of women with dense breast tissue is more likely to miss tumors in these women, and some doctors now perform additional tests like ultrasound.
So it's playing all right. I need to do a little more fine tuning with the condensers, but run a signal generator on them. But they're close.
Likewise, the task force evaluates.
These never produced a lot of power. They're running 71As for output and a push pull, which is not. They're not super powerful tubes, but they are kind of weak. But they're globe tubes, and I wanted to kind of keep the globes in there. And as long as it produces some sound, I'll keep using them. But they are. They don't even register in the green, so they are pretty weak. Although the longer it seems to be on and running and putting sound through it, the more it seems to get louder. So the more I play it, it's actually helping it. Other than that, there's not a whole lot else to say on it. I've got a little cleaning up to do. I want to clean this cover. It's kind of got some dirt flakes on it, and it just from setting it's gotten dusty, so get that cleaned up, and then I'll just reassemble her back in the radios. Should do a little better in there in the cabinet. But you go back over the previous videos on this one, and you know, it was we had audio transformer problems and a few other problems, and
many of these differences of opinion could be resolved.
Arthur Hollingsworth, he sent me a transformer. He had a part set, which helped me out on one part of it, and had a few other little things I had to do, and so I thank him for his help, and I know he wanted to hear it play, and it is playing. So this will be kind of a short video. I'll get this thing off the bench. I wanted to get some things, you know, ends tied up on different radios. So before I get back, I'll work on a few other things.
two neighbors are close allies, but this visit...
Right now I got that cable just temporary soldered. I'm going to have to
involves the promise of
clean up the wire connection a little better and get it a little better soldered, but otherwise it's working just fine.
Joined from Pakistan's capital Islamabad by
And
and so what was the scene?
the voltages, I remember this is a battery set, and I rigged up a power supply for it. The voltages are doing good. The sun's really kind of shining in there, but
tulips and huge billboards also bearing slogans talking about the Pakistani
blind a
little
bit.
higher than mountains, deeper than oceans, and sweeter than...
But there's the
Pakistanis often use about their
power supply there, and
the plan to turn Pakistan into essentially a big trade route for China, what does that involve exactly?
I'll probably kind of want to make it a little neater, so I'll kind of clean it up on top. But we just got a power transformer and a voltage divider. We have to produce 180 volts, 135 volts, 67.5 volts, and 45 volts, all DC. Plus, since part of the tubes absolutely require DC on their filaments, then we have to supply a DC for the filaments, which works out to be in just one supply of 5 volts. The 5 volts go through the field coil of the speaker, which really pulls down hard on that line. It draws quite a bit of current, and then it feeds in to the radio.
Security will undoubtedly be one of the big issues.
But all the voltages are within 10%, so they're I've done tinkering with that.
Investment in Pakistan could help with stability in that.
Other than just kind of clean it up, make it look a little better.
President Xi's been talking also about cooperating with Pakistan in the fight against Islamic militancy. China has an interest in doing this. It's worried about the spillover of Islamic militancy into its far west, where there's a restive Muslim...
Anyway, I think I'll stop the video here, and
in Pakistan's tribal belt, and China is worried about that.
Probably on the next video we'll probably do I don't know, a little bit on theory. I got another radio I want to get up on the bench. It's a radio you never seen before. I brought it out and got it up and running, mainly for its power supply more than anything. I'm going to use the power supply temporarily to feed to power the RCA Radiola 20, being it's really close and it will supply what I need for it. So anyway, I want to get it up on the bench and show it to you, and we'll play with run it a little bit. It's at the point now it just needs the cabinet redone, and the cabinet's in pretty sorry, especially the lid, sorry shape. It's a it's got a lid on it that opens up. It's a casket type case, or tabletop radio, and the lid, it's set out in a barn for a long time. The lid got a lot of moisture and everything and warped pretty good. I may have to just make a whole new one, I don't know. But the sides, all they need just a little clean up and possibly a refinish on those. So anyway, after next couple videos we'll get into doing some other stuff. So I want to thank you for watching, and thanks for your comments, and thank you to my new subscribers. And if you like these videos, please subscribe and give a thumbs up, and we'll keep on going. So I'll see you all on the next video, and you have a good day.